I just finished watching Season 2 of Solo Leveling, and after my Season 1 review, guys, I said, hey, I get it. I understand the hype. This show's goated. I feel even stronger after watching the second season. This show is incredible. I'd have to really sit back and think about it, but dare I say it's my second favorite anime show of all time so far. My first, of course, being Attack on Titan. If you've been following the channel, you might know I'm a huge Attack on Titan fan. But this might be next. I think this might be better than Demon Slayer. Death Note is where it has a little bit of a competition there because I also really love Death Note, but this show is absolutely phenomenal. We are going to be breaking down Solo Leveling Season 2, which I'm going to do my best. There's a lot of just what can I say besides it says really sick fight scene. We're going to do our best, okay? We're going to break down every episode. We're going to break down the plot, the arcs. We're going to talk about it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. So, the season kicks off right away. Now, there's a hunter that's with Jinwoo, and it's unfortunately her name is escaping me, but she wants to become a hunter, and Jinwoo was kind of just like, okay, well, you shouldn't be a hunter, so I'm going to take you over to the C rank to kind of spook you. The gate changed, and I don't recall if it ended up being a higher rank than if it turned into a C rank instead of an E rank, or if the C rank turned into an A rank. Don't remember what it was. Regardless, they kicked off this season right away. They're dropped in this sick snowy wasteland. Jinwoo is already taking care of everything. He's so calm. He's collected. The guy's goated at what he does, right? And he hasn't even reached his peak form like we are going to have at the end of the series over here, at the end of the season, which I am excited to talk about because the season just got better throughout the entire thing. Regardless, the battles were cool. The people who betrayed him, I enjoyed watching all of them end up dying to all of the polar bears, whatever they were, right? Jinwoo has no problem taking care of all of them. Then we finally get to hear him use the word even more, just outside of just learning the ability. We hear, and there's, you know when people talk about this dude aura farming, I'm like, yeah, he does. Just walking up all casual, hands in his pockets, maybe arise. Dude, so good, man. So good at what he does. So he now has, and this is something that of course we've all noticed, his army of shadows are just getting greater and greater and greater. But, so here's the thing, and on top of that, I like that he ended up reviving that guy that was a D-bag to him. A little bit besides the point. We got a little bit of information on what this system is all about, because one of the things that I was most curious about is, because it's obviously weirdly shaped up to be like a video game, but at the same time, it's not really exactly a video game. We don't know what it is. At the beginning of the season, we're going to talk a little bit more about it at the end, because I want to go through this as we've seen with, as it's been presented to us. The boss of the dungeon looked at Jinwoo and gave kind of a hint that he wasn't human. Why is this guy, or I don't remember exactly what they described him to be, but it was why is he aligning himself with all of the humans? Which is obviously suggesting that Jinwoo is no longer human. I don't really know what to make of that. I was questioning it, and I was like, okay. The only thing that I could really think of is obviously the first episode where he said that I want another chance, I want strength. Maybe he was killed there, but he was reborn. But what was he reborn as? And then as the season continues, we only have more questions about that entire thing. But for now, we'll talk about it as we go through. I think it's incredible. They kicked off this season, and this is something that I loved about the first season, man. I would say that, I'd have to really sit down and think about it, but I would say that Solo Leveling had the best pilot I've ever seen for a show. I'm somebody that's a little bit difficult to get into new shows. I don't like all of the build-up. I just want to be invested into it, but obviously you can't be invested into it. You have to build a relationship with these characters. Solo Leveling, skip that. Kind of did the same thing this time around where it's okay, we're here and having not only a pretty cool battle, not only we're okay, he's a necromancer now, he can show off his powers. No, this dude and the show that he's a part of is straight up awesome. Loved watching that entire arc. But right after that, we're actually introduced to Jinwoo's father, which I don't think we've had that much information of. But he shows up. There's a lot of questions about what's going on with him. We don't really know anything. He's just kind of being interrogated. He's starting to taunt people. And as of right now, we don't really know what's going on. All we know is that he's super powerful. He was trapped within a gate. Regardless, as we continue on, Jinwoo ends up deciding to get his rank actually reevaluated. And he has officially become the 10th S-ranked hunter, and I don't remember if it was the world or where they're from. I know it was from Korea, but regardless, it was this big thing that we have to test 10th S-ranked hunter. I would imagine that it's throughout the world. Could be wrong on that. Regardless, Jinwoo all of a sudden now has a bunch of people kissing ass to him, which is very interesting. This is what I love about Jinwoo's attitude, because he was the E rank. He was known as the worst hunter of all time. And while typically I hate those storylines where it's like the weakest guy in the world overcame and now he's the strongest guy. Another thing, the dude has insane like plot armor. No matter what, he's just like, yeah, I'm not going to give up, and just beats all of the people that he's going up against. Typically, I hate all of this stuff, but it's presented in such a cool way to me that I just don't care. One thing that I do like, though, he understands what it's like to just kind of be straight up looked down upon because of who you are. You know, he started going into those monologues, which I've seen edits of now. They go very hard, where it's like, the weak always fall, the strong get whatever they want, whatever it is, right? I'm paraphrasing, of course. The dude, like, that voice actor is so good. He's so good to the point where I forgot about him being Levi, and I just watched a Demon Slayer movie, and all I heard was Levi and Jinwoo from Zenitsu's voice, because he's not nearly as iconic, right? I'm like, dude, you can't do that to me. It's difficult to look through. But anyways, Jinwoo doesn't care about anything. He's not signing with anybody. He also learns in that time, because he wanted to go get some, I don't remember if it was new armor, but he wanted to sell some stuff that he acquired through the system. And he learned that all of it was insanely valuable. So instead, he decided to just go like work as a cleanup guy over at an A-rank dungeon. And this is where we're officially introduced to the female character, which I would imagine she's going to be a little bit more important as time goes on. She has the tissue, and I'm guessing this is going to be our love interest moving forward, because she thinks all hunters smell disgusting, and she's like, he's the first one that didn't stink. It's kind of like, this is the weird thing about anime shows. Like, of all things, why? You have this really cool hunter you could dial into, make her an insanely cool character. Maybe she just doesn't like how hunters are, but Jinwoo's different. He's pretty chill. Something like that. Not like, everybody in the world stinks except this guy. It can be weird sometimes, man. But anyways, the reason that she ended up, she walked by him and decided that. But then Jinwoo wanted to take on the A-rank dungeon, because I don't think he's been there before. And he was all excited to do so, but she ended up, because she patrols 24/7, she ran into him and was like, what are you doing? It's cleanup time. By the way, I owe you an apology. My video probably looked disgusting so far with the brightness level. I guess when I did a Windows update, and I don't know how long it's been like that for, my brightness level was ridiculous. So, hey, here we go. This is probably a lot more pleasant for your eyes. Not exactly that I, max out the scales on good looks, but you get my point, okay? But anyways, so the dungeon ends up closing. They're stuck in there, and Jinwoo, again, just gets the chance to flat out aura farm. There's this really cool place that they're at. Doom was inevitable. He just comes in and he's like, yeah, it's a shame because I'm about to kill you, or like whatever Jinwoo said, right? He just swears everybody to secrecy and takes care of the entire dungeon just by himself. So after he defeats all of everybody there, makes the money that he wants to get, he finally gets back into the castle. And this is where it's very interesting to me. And I forgot to mention that he didn't. Did I just mention that? I'm sorry if I did. Regardless, he got all the gear that he needed to do to get into castle, because there he needed like fire resistance, whatever it was, right? And this is where it gets very weird. Okay, I thought that the end goal of solo leveling would be to face the demon castle. I thought the demon castle was something kind of like it was presented, kind of like a video game. How, I don't know how many seasons of solo leveling that we would have had. Let's say it's 8 seasons they're planning on coming out with. I would have thought maybe one floor every single season until we reach the 100th floor. Like, yeah, I understand that you can't have all 100, but he made it up to like, what, 80, maybe the last 10 levels, let's say, go up to 90. The last 10 levels could be something that he has to conquer each season. But no, he defeated the whole thing. And what's strange about this entire thing is a little bit to break down. First of all, fights are super cool. I thought it was awesome. Every single time that he was in the demon castle, I thought it was very cool. We got a little bit more information on the system, but not a lot. We know there's some sort of war, and she kind of bugged out like a video game. She kind of bugged out where it's like maximum information exceeded, ending conversation. So this makes me wonder, and this is something that I wouldn't really like if this is where the story was going. But then the thing that happens afterwards makes me think that this isn't happening, where it's like Jinwoo, he actually did die at the beginning of solo leveling, and he's just been, I guess, maybe his conscience reborn into the system, but everything else about him is fabricated and just completely made up because, I don't know, it's like a show about like godly figures, you know? Something like that could happen. I don't know what the case is. because it doesn't seem real. She bugged out like an actual video game. But I might as well touch on it now, like at the end of the season, when we had that teaser where they're still wondering why he's putting himself with humans. It just doesn't make sense to me, which I guess is a very good thing because this has my interest. But I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little bit disappointed in how quickly things move forward, okay? He befriended the demon. The demon was pretty cool. I liked the interactions there with her. She's still trying to kill him after making a deal, things like that. He learned a little bit of information, which is what I really like about the show. We're getting little bits and pieces to put together. He had the final fight with the Shadow Monarch, or the Demon Monarch, whatever it was called. It was a very cool fight, very fun fight. No matter what, you can't beat him. He wanted to heal his mother. He wanted the elixir of life, and he ended up doing so after just a really cool fight scene in general. Again, I would have liked that to be, towards the climax of the show. I would have liked to see his mother revived later in the show. But who am I to comment on such a thing, because the show got better and had my favorite arc of the entire show post all of that. I was just a little bit disappointed about how quickly we ended up moving through things, but but don't get me wrong, as I was watching it, I enjoyed every little bit of it, okay? I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying. Anyways, he gets the elixir of life. We're not sure if it's going to work on his mom. And I was like, okay, maybe it's not moving too fast because it's not going to work on his mom. And I thought that's what we were going to run into, but no, she just ends up coming back to life. You have a very heartfelt moment. You see Jinwoo after like the badass that he's become, a little cringe saying that, but you get my point. He breaks down into tears. His mom's here. She's out of the coma. She moves in. Everybody's happy. And here's the other thing that's very interesting about it is now Jinwoo doesn't really have any motivation. And I'm interested where that's going to come from because the entire thing was he needed to get stronger so he could take on the Demon King and then get the elixir of life to wake up mom. He had no interest, and I forgot to mention before all of this, flying ants starting to appear and nobody could take it on. They're preparing for this giant mission with all the S-rank hunters to take on the queen. Jinwoo's just not interested. I got my mom. I got my family. I'm good. So I don't know what the next seasons are really going to be about. I imagine those two characters, like one being Jinwoo's father and that like weird other guy that ended up showing up towards the end of the show. I would imagine that they have something to do, but like what would it even be about? I don't know, but I'm excited. It's a good show. But now we continue on to my favorite part about solo leveling, period. I loved all of this. The entire fight with all of the ants. And what's funny was when I saw the ants kind of coming about and I saw them kind of preparing for this entire thing, I wasn't interested at all. I was kind of more interested in the dungeons and what Jinwoo was up to. But then it ended up being literally my favorite thing that's happened in solo leveling so far. Long story short, we have all of our S-rank hunters. We hyped them up. They had a battle with Jinwoo too, and Jinwoo showed that he's obviously the best hunter about everybody. But to be honest with you, I didn't really find that one all that interesting. But anyways, they go there. There's all the ants in the world. There's a huge colony. They're taking over. I don't know if they came out of a dungeon or how they even came about. I don't know if they mentioned it. It's just escaping my memory if they did. But they end up successfully killing the queen, but the queen ended up giving birth to this, like, I guess you can call, was he an ant king? Regardless, like, whoever just spawned in, this, like, massive, powerful ant. And this is what I really like about solo leveling, is they do such a good job at presenting, I guess you could call it aura, where it's like, all you have to do is have a little bit of music, have a little bit of a shadowy effect, and have these characters walking forward. And it does enough to really make you feel like the tension of the moment. This thing just starts slaughtering all of the S-rank hunters. They can't do anything. They're scared. This thing's ridiculously fast. He's pissed off that his queen got killed, and he's looking for the human king. Nobody can take on this guy. Obviously, we all assume that Jinwoo is going to come about, and he mentioned earlier that he gained this power called exchange. So, Jinwoo's chilling. Again, aura farming on top of a building. He's hearing about everything like going wrong, right? He just goes, exchange, because he had a shadow follow everybody. And then all of a sudden, this Ant King's there, terrifying everybody, and Jinwoo's just like walking with his hands in his pocket like, yeah, I got it. Everyone's confused how he showed up. Some people are hyped. This was being broadcast to the entire world. And then he has this insanely cool face-off, just in general, with the Jinwoo and the Ant. The auras of these two actually just like they're like conscience battling against each other before they actually did battle. That was incredible to see. Then they just started trading blows. Jinwoo didn't even use any of his power. They started trading blows. That was cool to see in itself. Jinwoo, the system ended up helping him with some poison, and he just kind of turned things up, I will say. We had an insanely cool fight scene. I wish that I could break it down even more than what I just did, but like, what am I supposed to say? They were going at it. It was really fun to watch. And in particular, when Jinwoo was using, he used a new move. Again, that's escaping my memory. Dismemberment? Is that what it was? Regardless, something along those lines. He's just cutting this thing up, and this dude, the Ant King, was like, kind of like, I have to escape. I must live. I have to escape. This guy, Jinwoo, this aura farmer, he lets him go for a little bit just to grab him and drag him down to the ground. And dude, one of the most hype moments that I've ever seen from a TV show, period, is when Jinwoo's like blue hand grabbed that ant out of the air, smashes him on the ground, and this thing is forced to like bow to Jinwoo as everything is burning around him, as he knows defeat is right there, and as he knows that he's about to die. Holy, that was incredible. I loved watching every single little second of that. This was my favorite part about solo leveling, period. Like, the entire show has been great. The pacing for it's good. I've never found myself, like, I know I said I wasn't interested in a couple things, like, for example, when Jinwoo ended up testing himself against the S-rank hunters. I wasn't particularly interested in that, but this show kept me entertained from start to finish. No downtime. I understand the critiques that I'm hearing about solo leveling, and it's like, oh, the lore is not exactly that in-depth. I don't care. And look, it has incredible action, it has hype moments, and it has like an insanely cool character, and my interest is piqued enough wondering what, like, I would imagine we're gonna see those the gods from the first episode again. I can't wait to see them, and I want to know how that system works. And now I'm interested in, like, Jinwoo's not really human. I don't know. This is good enough for me. This is one of my favorite anime shows that I've ever watched, but we're not done yet, okay? So, the ant ends up getting slain, and then Jinwoo makes everybody turn off the camera, and just, like, every time he says that, man, so cool, arise. Like, it's to the point where I feel like I sound cringe saying it. Hang on. Arise. I don't think I can do that well, but you get my point. Like, it's so cool. So cool, man. And we had a little bit of a moment where one of those hunters, there was a little bit of a story with him how he didn't want to continue hunting, right? He didn't want to do any of that. But Jinwoo ended up reviving him. And I had a little bit of a moment where I was like, oh, okay. Is he going to start becoming like so self-absorbed kind of that he is the villain of the show? Because I thought that Jinwoo was about to use that like that nice hunter's life and just keep him because he has good healing power. But no, he's still... His intentions are still pure. He wanted to heal that other hunter, you know, the one that didn't like any smells. And now he kind of saved the day. She's probably in love with him a little bit. Then he let his soul go. But throughout this, he acquired even more of an army. Throughout this entire season, that shadow army is going crazy. And he still hasn't revealed to anybody he's a necromancer. And this is where, again, I guess the other guys were watching them. Like, those guys that showed up at the end. I might as well talk about that now. They're still questioning, like, why he is siding with the humans. Okay, so obviously he's not human. But why? And what is he? Did he turn out to be a demon? What is the demon war? Like, it's all super confusing, but I'm sure it'll all come together. And if you're somebody who's read the manga for it, please, please, please don't spoil it for me, because I'm really invested in the show and I don't want to run into any spoilers. But the entire season ends up coming to an end with, like I said, those guys that were just watching over him. We still have questions about Jinwoo's father, of course, and he's going to start his own guild. Jinwoo doesn't want to sign with anybody still. He's very famous in the media now because that entire thing is being broadcasted. He's being praised and he's being teared down. Like, of course, right? This is how it would work in real life too. That's a funny way to say thank you. He should have been there from the beginning. How about thank you, Jinwoo, for risking your life? How about that, okay? This show has been great. I'm excited to watch the third season. Hopefully it doesn't take 10 years to come out, but in the meantime, why don't you check out our Season 1 review if you have not seen it yet? I'd love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody.